There's growing concern in Florida over a number of bizarre crimes linked to a street drug called Flickka. It's one of the newer chemicals in the booming so-called designer drug market. The drug can be snorted, smoked, injected, or even swallowed. So what is this new drug? Here to talk about it is Dr. John LaPook. So what is Flickka, John?
Flickka is the latest in this generation of amphetamine-like drugs. So it's the next thing after, Molly, MDMA, ecstasy. These are things that increase the amount of amphetamine effect in your body. What amphetamines do is they increase dopamine, the pleasure chemical, and serotonin and norepinephrine, all these neurotransmitters that can make you initially more alert, euphoric, things like that. But unfortunately, there are a lot of side effects.
And what are some of those side effects?
Well, you're hearing about this aggression, the super strength, people coming in. It reminds me of angel dust in the early 80s, phencyclidine, PCP. And I was in the emergency room at Columbia back then, and I'd know somebody who came in dusted because they'd come in with 7, policemen holding down every part of their body, and they would be like, have superhuman strength. And it sounds like this is a very similar thing. When you have this flood of too much of all these neurotransmitters, you can have too high of a temperature, your blood pressure can go up, you can actually seize. If you've seen somebody who's taking an amphetamine drug, their eyes, their pupils dilate, they can have sweaty palms. Those are kind of mild side effects. But the serious one can lead to irregular heartbeat, seizure, death, too much high temperature in the body, and every single organ system, if you just go down them, every single organ system can be affected.
In fact, we have video from earlier showing a guy who was high on this stuff trying to break down the door of a police station. There it is right there, which just shows you what it also does to your logical and rational reasoning.
Yeah, meanwhile, inside of your brain, what's happening is the temperature can go up, and you can actually have bleeding inside of your head.
Wow.
So this is, one of the problems with this, aside from, you forget about the philosophical idea of whether you want to be taking mind-altering drugs. You're taking drugs where you really don't know what's in them.
Because these are, we keep saying that, they're synthetic. Somebody created them in a laboratory,
and
Heisenberg kind of.
Are you trusting your life to some unknown person in some unknown place who's going to put the exact right dose that you think it has, even if you think it's okay to take it? You don't know what it's laced with, you don't know what the dosage is, and then if you start doing things like vaping, where you have like an e-cigarette type delivery system, it can go right into your bloodstream.
Wow.
You can get a really quick effect, quick hit. So you're really playing with fire. I looked at a graph earlier, and I saw that ecstasy, criminal activity, use of ecstasy in criminal activity was sort of going down, and now this is kind of going back up. So it's the next wave. I mean, it's kind of spy versus spy versus spy. I guess it's illegal but you can't make every single solitary chemical illegal. So they change it up a little bit, and then maybe it's harder to detect, or maybe this version's not illegal. But
this sounds more dangerous. You mentioned ecstasy. It sounds more dangerous to ecstasy, because I don't know anything about this, but I know that from reading that ecstasy gives you pleasure. This sounds like it gives you that idea of like superhuman strength, which makes you aggressive.
Well, it's all a matter of dosage. So I think ecstasy has the same problem.
It does.
In the right dose, you can get this effect. But even in the right dose, these drugs, long-term, can cause organ damage. Liver, kidneys, heart, irregular heartbeats. There's no free lunch when it comes to all this. And here, though, when you're talking about vaping it, and having it go right into your bloodstream so quickly, you definitely can get a high dose very, very rapidly.
Are they addictive?
Amphetamines are addictive.
Yeah, they are. It can be something like we've seen with crystal meth, for example. Is that considered an amphetamine?
Yeah, that is an amphetamine, and they do two things. One is they can have the release of, they make the amphetamine-like chemicals and the serotonin and dopamine get released, and then they stop them from getting metabolized or retaken up by the nerve endings. So you have this flood of neurotransmitters, all of this effect going on, and the body has a natural way of getting rid of it, and it stops that natural way of getting rid of it. So you have this flood, all of this activity. Initially, the reason why you take it is it can give you euphoria, and it can increase attention, it can increase alertness. But then again, long term, you're definitely going to be paying the piper, and especially because you have no idea what the dosage is, and you can overdose.
Very dangerous. Dr. John LaPook, thank you so much.
Glad.
All right.